To put it simply, women in these situations obviously are set up for failure. But is she? Her candidacy is front and center. She's confronting challenges such as sexism, racism, and a mixed political record. Joining me now to break all this down is Dr. Barbara Perry, UVA presidential historian and former Supreme Court researcher and fellow. Thank you so much for joining us. There is so much to break down there, right? So what does she face as a woman in this position?
I think we saw that. First of all, Elizabeth, thanks for having me. But we saw in 2016 what a woman at the top of a major party ticket can face in the person of Hillary Clinton. And while she won that election in the popular vote by about 3 million votes, we know that she lost those 3 important states that she needed in the Electoral College by about 70,000 plus votes. So it's not a great record coming behind Kamala Harris. And she has, on top of the gender issue, as you pointed out, race and ethnicity that could either be a boost for her, but it could also be a detriment.
Okay, so you brought up former contender Hillary Clinton. What did she do wrong in 2016? So what can the vice president do right in 2024? And there's a lot of momentum this week. How does she keep that going?
Right. Well, let's start with the first possibility. Right. And I think it's a benefit to Kamala Harris that people are saying, I don't know a lot about her. And that is very typical for vice presidents. I'd say people know more about her than perhaps they have had other vice presidents in the past. But a long time ago, when Lyndon Johnson was vice president, and then, of course, sadly became president upon the assassination of John Kennedy. But before that, people out in the street were asked, who's Lyndon Johnson? And they'd say, I don't know. I never heard that name. So that's, in some ways, a benefit to Kamala Harris. Now she's got a lot of name recognition. But for Hillary Clinton had a long record in public service that many people thought was positive, but some thought were negative, or they just didn't like the tie to Bill Clinton and they didn't like Bill Clinton. So in that sense, this is a positive. What does she need to do to keep the momentum going? She needs to do what she's doing. She needs to get out and be known. She needs to get out and chart her own course with her own policies. She needs to continue raising money. She needs to lead a flawless convention coming up in Chicago and then hit the ground running after that. Hillary Clinton kind of disappeared from the public scene after a really great 2016 Democratic convention. And then she didn't come back on the scene until September 11th of that year. And it was when she collapsed from pneumonia out in public. Right. And that obviously is not a good look.
Boy, I remember the optics of that. I have 2 questions for you, because you said that she needs to have really a flawless presence, and that stuck out to me because she does have a track record that some people will criticize, and then there is some criticism that she may not have the foreign policy expertise. So how does she combat those 2 things?
Well, I think on the latter, I think she needs to make the case, as she started to do this week with Benjamin Netanyahu visiting Washington. And not only did he have that sit down, as typically foreign leaders will do, with the president in the Oval Office, so he certainly met with current President Biden, but he also met one-to-one and had a handshake in front of flags with the vice president. And then she made her own statement, which was a little bit different from Biden's in that she stressed more the 2-state solution to Palestine, Gaza, and particularly with Israel. So I think that was good. To be flawless is impossible. She's a human being. And as you say, some people won't agree with her past record or maybe even going forward. But she can't have any mistakes. No gaffes. No tripping, no verbal miscues, and again, try to have as best a good, solid convention, and then come out of that and race to the finish line November 5th.
My last question to you would be, in your opinion, what is she up against with the J.D. Vance, former President Trump ticket? We've already seen them take some cheap shots this week. I don't have to repeat it. What is she up against?
I would start by saying I don't think the shots were cheap, in that, talk about not having some verbal miscues or missteps. I think for J.D. Vance, the comments about women and cats may not have been super good for him in those constituencies. So I think that she just needs to be herself. And that was something else that Hillary Clinton, as the first woman in that role, had a little bit of trouble with. What do people want me to be? be yourself, be comfortable in your own skin. And I think if Kamala Harris takes the high road, she should be fine.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.